Tamily. We are about to start our 36th Ask Tamily interview with Cindy. Her Instagram name is TickledPink218. If you don't already follow her, but I'm sure you do, she's been a staple of the Tamily for a super long time. So of course we have some questions planned for Cindy, but we love getting live questions during the interview, so please feel free to type them in and we'll scroll through and make sure we get them. I'm just sending Cindy the invite to join now. A second. Can't believe this is our 36th interview.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for having such an impeccable internet connection.
I'll thank AT&T for that.
Well, we're very excited to start our 36th Ask Tamily interview with you. And of course, we have some questions planned for you, but I'll definitely monitor the chat for any live questions as well.
Okay.
So we'd like to start with our favorite question, which is, when and how did you start the Tracy Anderson method?
So I actually, I think it was like 2008 or 2009, I was researching some workouts that I would get into. I've never been an exercise person. And I came across this article about Tracy doing her workouts with Madonna, and I was like, I saw it was dance based, and I was like, oh, this sounds like a cool thing. And I ended up buying the original Matt DVD and the cardio DVD, and I kind of did that on and off for years, basically until not consistently at all, but basically until online streaming came out. And when that came out was about the time that I was like, I really need to start exercising, because I'd had a back injury at work and kind of yo-yoed with my weight and just felt like I need to get stronger. And so that was when I got really consistent with Tracy, and I did that consistently for about a year. And then I've been doing streaming on and off since then.
So as far as the dance cardio, have you done that always since the beginning? And, I know I've watched your dance videos. Is that your favorite part of the workout?
It is my favorite part. It used to be my least favorite part. For a long time, every time I would try, I'd get really into it, and then I'd get really bad shin splints. And so for a long time, it would be like a start and stop thing with DC. And then it wasn't until, let's see, when I was doing streaming, when I did like a year of really continuous streaming, I got more into it, and I stopped having shin splints. And so now I don't get them at all, even if I don't do it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing, if I don't do it for a while, my calves are killing me. So I decided I've been starting this 30-day challenge this month to do at least 10 minutes of DC every day, and my calves are just killing me.
That's a really good goal, though. So
yeah,
I mean, even if it's just a few minutes, it makes a huge difference. Not that I'm one to speak, because I do 0 minutes, but
I think the thing for me right now is mostly because I don't have time to actually do a whole workout right now. I don't even have 30 minutes to do a whole workout. But I was like, I just need to do something, even if it's just 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is usually sometimes it's the most DC I could do. And I think a lot of people kind of feel that way, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, especially continuously. 10 minutes of DC is serious.
I can't wait to see the difference over the 30 days. I mean, I'm really motivated also because I'm doing it for one of my classes. It's a health and wellness class. So that kind of got me on got me motivated to really stick to it, because I've just been struggling with school and working 2 jobs and commuting. Like, I was like, I'm losing my TAM time. Like, I'm losing the results that every time you start and stop, it's like, oh, the results are so great, and then you get off of it, and it's so frustrating.
Yes.
So
I completely concur.
So I'm excited to see the results, and I know it's going to be a good lead into the summer. Once I'm done with school, I'll be able to work out consistently again, and it'll be fun to be doing both DC and muscular structure.
And you just have a month of school left, or what is your?
Yep, I graduate May 18th, so I'm excited.
I can't believe it's only a month away. Oh my god.
I know, and the weather here, it was like, I don't know, 15 degrees when I got up this morning, and I can't wait for it to be 80 degrees.
Yeah. Exactly. So when you originally chose the Tracy Anderson method, why did you choose that method over other fitness methods?
First of all, because of the dance based. I did dance when I was a young girl for probably like 5 years, but it just brought me back. I was like, I've always wanted to get back into dance, and I thought that would be a good way of exercising and also getting kind of the look of a dancer or ballerina, the lean, like, you're still building strength, but you're not bulking. Like, I've always been, I used to also swim competitively. Like, I've always been a kind of person that bulks really easily. And so it was nice to find an avenue that is impossible for that to happen. I mean, just think about how hard we work when we're doing this workout, and like you're supposed to do this every day, and you are using actually a lot of weight, but her strategy is just amazing.
It really
is. If you do it to the T, which there's so many details, but which is something I really appreciate about Tracy's method.
Yeah,
the detail.
Another aspect, of course, is the Tamily. So we want to know who in the Tamily inspires you.
The first person that comes to mind is Jen. What's her handle now? Glow Getter Shine.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah, she's probably my number one inspiration. I actually got to meet her in New York. She's just such a bright person, and she just keeps plugging away at it every day, and she's got a crazy schedule, and I really appreciate that about her. She's such a supportive person. She's like the first person I'm sure she does this with everybody. If you're having a bad day, she sends you a message and says, "Hey, what's going on? Are you okay?" Like, and she's always got a positive word for everybody. And you are actually one of my biggest inspirations in the Tamily. I remember when I first started following you, like I think back before even we had met at the Tampa Vitality Week. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this girl is doing this every day, and then like just looking back, you're such an inspiration. Like, you also have really stuck with it, and it's just like the proof is in the pudding,
Thank you. That makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody inspires me. There's so many. I mean, the community is so huge now. Sometimes it's overwhelming. I'm like, everybody will be talking about a certain person, and I'm like, who is that? Like, what are they all about?
Yeah.
So I really enjoy it.
Well, since you brought up Jen, Jen actually messaged me and said she wasn't going to be able to watch live, but she wanted me to read something to you.
Oh.
So I'm going to do that since she come on and watch us. So She would like us to remind you how amazing you are.
Oh.
It takes such strength and determination to work full time and continue going to school. You have shown up for yourself every day, and people notice this and are inspired. These last few months have not been easy, but she's so proud of you and wants to ask the rest of the Tamily to join in congratulating you as you slay this last month of school. Cindy, you are a ray of sunshine, and we hope you can feel the warmth and love returned to you that you give out each day.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my gosh. She is such an awesome person.
She really is. So that I was planning to do that at the end, but I thought her up. So kind of going on the lines of inspiration, have you ever personally met Tracy?
I have actually. I met her at that Tampa Vitality Week. Actually, it was a really funny story. This is probably one of my favorite memories of all time in my life, to be honest. I remember I was visiting my grandpa after my grandma had passed away, and I was kind of spending time with him, helping out with cooking and things like that. And there was the Vitality Week, but I couldn't afford to go to it, so I was like, well, I really want to meet. Sorry, I keep getting notifications. I really wanted to meet a bunch of the girls there, and so I planned on getting there towards the end. I didn't want to get in. I didn't pay for it, so I didn't want to go in and try to get the content, even though so I kind of observed, and Tracy stopped the class. She was teaching. That was when she came out with the Tava, and so she was teaching new dances. She stopped everything, turned and looked at me, and she was like, "Hi, beauty," and she came and gave me a hug, and I was shocked at the fact that she recognized me from across the room. I'm like, how do you know who I am? She had been following me for probably maybe a month or two at that point on Instagram, and I just couldn't believe it. And she said she just thought I was a good cheerleader for everyone and stuff, and I couldn't believe it. She is such a wonderful person, and she has created such an amazing community, and I just think I don't want her to ever retire.
I know.
What's gonna happen in 20 years? I mean, she could probably retire now if she really wanted.
True. But I have a feeling it won't be for a super long time. And
I'm sure she won't.
She's training lots of people to be, nearly
But I'm sure she'll always be the mind behind the process anyways, so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that is an amazing memory. Have you ever actually attended a Vitality Week or gone to a studio?
I haven't been to a Vitality Week yet. That's one of my goals. Every year I think, okay, this year is going to be the year, and that probably won't be until next year. But I went to New York in 2016? Yeah, I think it was March of 2016. I went to New York City, actually, basically just for the reason to go to the studio. And so I went to her. It used to be the old Tribeca studio.
Oh, okay.
So I took 2 classes every day that I was there for 3 days straight, and that was also the time that Tava had just come out. So it was kind of fun to be able to go to cardio classes and be on the same level as everybody. Everybody was learning new dances, and it was not high impact, so I could actually do it without feeling pooped out really fast.
Yeah.
And the studios, there is nothing compares to the studio. The level of calorie burning and sweating and just the energy. Before I had gone there, I had been doing streaming for a while, and I never could do all the reps. Like, some moves, but most of the time I couldn't do all the reps. Well, I went to the studio and I did all the reps. And I was like, man, it's amazing what motivation it is when you have all these people around you doing it, and you're like, if I was at home, I'd probably sit and take a little water break, but the only time I was drinking water was when I was like, when everybody else was transitioning moves and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And then just the heat, like, I wish I could do that at my house. The only time I can get anywhere close to that is during the summertime.
Right.
But that makes a huge difference. The heat and humidity really makes a huge difference. And even like here, during the winter I work out in my basement, and I have some heat and humidity, which does help, but it's just like almost impossible to get it just right. Yeah. But I'd like to, speaking of studios, I wish that if Tracy ever watches this, I wish that she would make a studio in Chicago.
Yeah.
Because that would be so awesome. I'd be going down there like once a month, probably.
Yeah. I think that'd be a perfect location, because right now she really just has the coasts. So,
right.
Definitely Chicago would be great.
And isn't she talking about opening one in Miami?
Yeah.
I went to, so that was actually, technically, I went to her pop-up studio in Miami, too.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And took a couple of classes there. That was actually my first time taking any classes with trainers, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
It was hard. I remember just shaking. I mean, your arms are just shaking.
Yeah.
But, the feeling afterwards, like the exhilaration from it.
Yeah.
So
How was the heat and humidity at the pop-up? Was it similar to the video?
It was okay. It was I don't think it was the same level as the studio, probably because they had just like external sources. I don't even know if it was I don't think it was like a hot yoga studio or anything like that. But it was pretty good. They did a good job with it, I have to say. And I don't know if that was like a trial run for eventually opening a permanent location there, but I think Chicago would be great. Well, she's from, near there, so you'd think that eventually there'd be a big market too.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, it's where my corporate office is, so that would be
perfect. Be even better then.
What would be some advice you would have for someone that's new to the Tamily?
I would say that keep going, even when you feel like, and I think I feel this way sometimes too, when you feel like you're not doing it as well as people that you see on Instagram, or you're not getting the results as fast or whatever, just keep plugging away, because if you do that, you will get the results that you want. But everybody's bodies are different. Everybody changes at different rates, and everybody's strength increases at different rates. And just, I would say, don't beat yourself up, because you will get there slowly but surely. And it's amazing how many different levels of content there are now. When it first came out, there was just the master class.
Yeah.
And I think all the time I'm like, how do I let myself do beginners when I never worked out consistently and I did master class every day?
Right.
I mean, I think it was a little different. I don't think it was. I think it was more in like what intermediate classes like now. I think it's because she's always making her content harder, so the master class is for like the most elite level people. But
absolutely,
yeah, I would say get plugged into the community, follow the right people, because there's a lot of people to follow that everybody's inspiring, but I think there are times when some people are just really, I don't know how to say this. Some people just, if somebody's not inspiring you, don't follow them. Unfollow them. Like, don't be scared not to. Just because they're like when it's some in the inner circle or whatever. Like, if they're not making you feel good, if you're scrolling through your Instagram feed and something's not making you feel good, unfollow them, because that's going to be a barrier to your results, because you're going to be thinking, I can't get to that level, and I'm not going to look like that. Well, no, we're never going to all look the same.
Right.
Like, that's not possible.
Right. Exactly. That's not meant to be at all.
Exactly. And that's not what Tracy wants. She wants us all to be the best version of ourselves. And I think that's the nature of the beast of social media, is that it's easy to get sucked into this whole uniformity look. And that's not real life. And so that would be my advice, I guess.
That's good advice. We have a question in the chat from Nicole. She said, you're a dancing queen.
Thank you.
Her calves and feet hurt too. Have you ever tried a foam roller?
No, but I know a lot of people speak very highly of them, and I think it's just laziness on my end of things, where I'm like, oh, I don't feel like buying another thing for my workouts, because, it's not the cheapest workout in the world.
Right.
But I think it would be a good investment, because I've heard so many great things about it. I've never actually tried it. Have you?
Yeah, I got one. I don't know, it was like only $12 actually on Amazon, but it's like enormous. Like, so I got it, like my hamstrings or something were like bothering me. So I used it for that. It doesn't seem great for like calves or whatever though.
I think there's different sizes and like shapes.
Yeah.
I'd have to do more research, I think, because that is something I've thought about a lot, actually, because I'd like to keep doing dance cardio consistently, because I just really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy the dance part of it, and just like I don't know, something about how much you have to think about doing it, but then it's also really fun. It's not as much work to me. I mean, it is a lot of work, but it's not as much work to me as doing muscular structure for some reason.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, the fun to work ratio works better for me.
And you can burn as many calories, but not even feel like you were, because you're just like engaged in what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, but that's a great question, and that's great advice too. I definitely need to look into that.
Yeah, Nicole said it's life-changing, and it hurts like hell at first, but then you'll be addicted.
Okay, good.
For like $10 also.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to do some research on that.
Yeah. So for you, what kind of challenges have you faced in doing the method consistently?
I think my biggest challenges have been getting injuries. Getting injured, and then being able to differentiate between good pain and bad pain, which I think Tracy has talked a lot about. Probably more, like, when I was doing it consistently, I was doing it like 7 days a week, and I hurt my neck, and and this is they're both recurring injuries now. I feel like I hurt in those spots on a regular basis if I overdo it. But my left hip flexor, I think I pull it, or I don't know what it is. But so in the past, that has stopped me from being consistent. Like, it'll kind of stop me in my tracks, because I'm scared. I don't want to hurt something more. I don't want to like create an injury that's going to be a long time thing. And then but I think that figuring out whether it's just like soreness or weakness that you need to work through, and maybe like modify moves in order, and that's something that has kind of come with time and experience in the method. But that's been a big struggle for me over the years, I would say, is injuries. And then, of course, just life in general. And I know everybody's really busy, so I think about that a lot. It's hard not to beat myself up sometimes about, okay, you know what, these people are moms and they're working and doing all this stuff. They're doing it, why can't I do it? But it's important to know your limits too. And I think when I first started it, I didn't really listen to my body's limits, and that's kind of how I got into the cycle of injuries. But it takes time to learn that stuff.
Definitely. And you have to have a good balance between like making yourself feel guilty but also being honest with yourself. Like, if you really do have time and you really are capable, you really should do it. But, if you haven't had enough sleep and you know that, you're not feeling well or you're prone to having an injury, you have to cut yourself a break.
Right. Yep, that's for sure.
What is something that you have learned from Tracy?
I would say that to be kind to yourself, to love yourself. I think that's been the biggest thing, that the biggest takeaway I've had from this journey so far. And I think that every time I feel like every time I do the method, or every time we hear from Tracy, I feel more and more like that is the message that she wants to send to everybody, is to love yourself, to be kind to yourself, and not to judge yourself, which is difficult. And it's difficult in this method, like Jen has said so many times in our conversations, like, because it's so detail oriented and like kind of strict regimen, it attracts a lot of type A personalities. I'm a type A personality for sure. And so it's nice to have reminders from Tracy herself that, hey, you're a human being.
Yeah.
And that the whole point of this is to make yourself feel better, not feel worse.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like as time goes on, she preaches that more and more, and I appreciate that so much, because I think that's going to appeal to a broader audience of women, and that's what keeps people coming back too.
Exactly. What is some advice you've received from the Tamily that has been impactful to you?
I think the consistency side of things is the biggest piece of advice that I've gotten that I've seen over the years of people. People that I say to myself, well, I'm doing it as much as they are. How come I'm not getting the results? And then I realize, am I really being that consistent? No, I'm not. And it's so true. There's nothing compares to consistency in anything that you do in life. It's like, just to learn something, you have to do it however many times, 50,000 times or whatever it is. And that definitely applies to this. And I think it seems a lot to do with how it works in our brains so much. Like, you're learning new things every week.
Yeah.
And if you don't consistently do it, you're not creating those neural pathways like you should, because you're not doing the repetition.
Exactly.
So that's something I need to take and use more often.
Right. Me too. What do your family and friends think of the Tracy Anderson method?
Oh, they think it's crazy. Just today, I told everybody that I could tell, actually, about this. I was like, I'm getting interviewed by the Tracy Anderson fan club. Because I don't know. It's so funny to try to explain what the Tamily is to people, that don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way to explain it. But it's really funny, because when I went to the Tampa Vitality Week with my grandpa, did not understand this at all. He literally thought, and that hopefully this doesn't offend anybody, but he accused me of being in a, not that there's anything wrong with this, but in a lesbian relationship with Tracy. I was like, Tracy is not. She's like my mentor. I was like, why would you think that? Women can't get together and do, workouts together and get together without there being some sort of romantic.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so that was, he really did not understand it. I guess it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
But I think everybody thinks I'm a little fanatical, probably a lot fanatical about Tracy, and I remember my brother because I always say Tracy Anderson, and he's like, well, why don't you just call her Tracy? Like, you talk about her all the time. She's obviously like your friend. You might as well just call her Tracy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to think about that, Tracy being our friend.
Exactly.
That's what I feel. That's what I feel like. I love her like a friend.
And she really thinks about us that way too. I mean, she does pay attention. I know she's very, very busy, but she pays attention to us. Like, I mean, especially that Tampa Vitality Week. Like, that was the first time, I was in the room with people from the Tamily and from Instagram, and I didn't expect to, like, recognize people by their face. But that happened. It was like, we know each other. We see each other every day. It happens to be on social media. But we really do know, more about each other sometimes than people, that we actually see in person.
Oh, totally. It's really incredible to me. That, I was talking about kind of the negative sides of social media, but this is truly a positive side. It's really cool. I'm surprised by it all the time, actually. It's like, how can you know people that live so far away on other sides of the world and feel so connected to them because of a workout?
Yeah, it really is unbelievable. We have a question from Change Girl 64, which her name is Tracy also.
Oh.
What keeps you motivated?
I think what keeps me motivated to keep coming back to this method and to always think, okay, I'm going to get consistent, is how I feel physically and mentally and emotionally from doing this workout. There's nothing, like, if I don't do it for a week, or sometimes it's a couple of weeks at a time, if I don't get at least one session in, I just can feel my whole body. It almost hurts more when I don't work out than when I do work out. And I can feel it, like my spirit hurts too, because it's such an emotional outlet. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just like, that's what dance does to you too, is like, if you go out dancing, like, there's just a emotional outlet that you don't get from anything else, and that's what keeps me motivated to stick with it, even though I'm not doing it like I would like to. I know that that's always what I'm going to keep coming back to, because of the feeling that I get, my entire being gets something out of it.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of things out there that accomplish that.
Right, exactly.
Good question.
Yeah. What is something important to you that you would like to share with the Tamily?
So I think it's important to have really good, healthy body image. One of the first people that I met in the Tamily, she doesn't really post on Instagram too much, but I think she's still doing the workout. Her name is Karen. She also does, she refinishes furniture. I don't know if you, but she really is an advocate for positive body image, and that's something that I want everyone to embrace, because, like I've been saying, nobody's meant to look the same. And sometimes I get really sad when I see somebody who is, to me, they look perfect, and they're like, I need to do this 30-day challenge. Not that there's anything wrong with 30-day challenges. I like them too, but because I need to lose another 10 pounds and I need to be at this number. And I just want everyone to remember that a number does not define you. And how you look doesn't define you. And that, I don't know, that just really bothers me sometimes when I see people get so wrapped up in it. And I want people to remember that that they should love themselves no matter what, and then just enjoy the workout and don't have to be like constantly bettering yourself, because you are, just by doing it. You don't need to like be crazy strict on, if that's what people want to look like, that's fine. But I think that there's some sort of, it feeds negativity to be so stuck on I have this image of how I have to look, and I'm not going to be happy unless I get there. But the truth is, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to get there, because we always criticize ourselves no matter what. When I was doing the streaming consistently, I was the best I've ever looked, and I wanted to look better. I was like, I don't look that great. Now when I look back, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Right.
How stupid. I mean,
yeah,
it was just crazy. And I'm like, how sad that I couldn't enjoy that. And I just want people to enjoy their results, no matter whether they think they're perfect or not.
exactly. And I think that's, a lot of us come to the method at first because of what we want to change physically, and then we realize there's so much more to it, and
yes,
you get so much out of it besides just the physical results, which are great, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's very good for your health as well, and that's
absolutely
the whole overall thing. But the mental clarity and the confidence and those kind of things are such amazing results as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So we have a couple more questions in the chat. Natalia, which is Happiness Through Tam, she said, Tam is a great stress relief. Do you have any other hobbies or activities you do to give you peace and stress relief?
Gardening.
Oh.
I'm very excited to get out into my garden, which won't be for a while.
Right.
Because there's still a lot of, the ground is still frozen. There's still a lot of snow out there. I have a huge garden.
April.
I've got a huge garden, and I love getting out there and seeing the results of what you plant and getting to eat it, and I don't know, there's nothing better than spending hours out there, even if it's just weeding.
That's awesome. Okay, we have another question, which is, what are the biggest physical changes that you have seen since starting the method?
I think that everything, it's amazing how everything just comes together, like, I don't know, her method with just the skin tightening and the small muscles, like, if you do research, everybody says, no, that's not how it works, that's not how exercising works, but it is, because it works. That what her strategy works really well, and I'm amazed all the time, even now. Like, even though it's been a long time since I've been really consistent, I still see the difference between before I was doing the method and now. Just my overall shape is probably about the same, but just the way different, like, groups of muscles and the way that my skin is, just like everything is tighter in a lot of ways. It's held together better, and I just think about what positive, how that's going to affect aging positively, you know, like even into, you know, I work at a hospital part-time and I see a lot of the elderly and I think, boy, I hope I'm not like that when I get old. But I think people aren't going to age the same because we are so much more conscious about actually exercising. And I feel like this method is probably the best. Well, I think it's the best. I think it's the best one out there. And I think because you're supporting everything so much better, like the way that everything, that the moves cause your muscles to support each other better, and then in turn support the skin better, and just everything is really amazing to me.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. I remember Tracy saying something like, you know, bringing you in like a corset. Like it really does. Like
it really does.
Pull your whole body together.
It's just crazy. And when you're doing it too, like over time, it's amazing how you can feel like the different, it like moves through your body. You know, I'll be feeling my legs even now and I'm like, oh, this is tighter where it used to not be. And it's just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. So another thing we would like to know is, where do you live and what do you do?
So I now live in northwestern Wisconsin, way up by Lake Superior. And I'm in school, everybody knows that. I'm finishing my bachelor's in public health, which I've been in school for almost 10 years trying to finish. It's kind of been a long journey. But I'm getting my bachelor's in public health, and I'm also getting my license in substance abuse counseling. So that's kind of my main thing right now besides school. I'm doing my internship at an outpatient treatment center.
Okay.
So that's been really impactful to my life, of getting to help addicts and you know what, doing the method is the best way to relieve the stress from that emotionally.
Yeah. I think about that for all of the Tamily members that are in like the medical field and psychology and everything. I'm like, I'm just in HR and I need the stress relief.
Well, yeah, that's when you're working with people, you know, that's the nature of working with people, is it takes, you're giving of yourself to others, and you need to find a way to regain, like, to, what's the word, to kind of reset yourself, you know, to renew yourself and rejuvenate yourself, and this method does a good job of doing that.
Well, and that's what I think we see so much in our community, is all these women that give so much of themselves.
Yes.
It is wonderful to see that they also do this method for themselves. But it's just a reminder that we all need to do that. We all need to have that time for ourselves, and it makes us better for everyone else. But we deserve that time, and you know, especially looking at people like you, and there's so many in the Tamily that it's like, you know, you should never question. You deserve some of yourself too.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think that's a hard thing for people to, especially us as women, to really embrace that. But it's vital.
Yeah, exactly. Our last planned question for you, and I think that we have asked everything that's in the chat, but if anyone else has another question, you can type it in now. We would like to know who else you think we should interview.
Well, besides Tracy, I think it would be so cool if Tracy could do this sometime. I don't know if she would, but she might.
She might. We'll have to see. I might need somebody else to do that interview. But
maybe Julie.
We'll pair up. Oh yeah, that's true too.
My number one person that I would love to see do, and it might be logistically difficult for her, but Lemina Tam. Yeah, I would love to see her do an Ask Tamily interview. Okay. She is such an amazing person. She, you know, she's so dedicated. she's such a beautiful person on the inside and out, and it would be really cool to see.
Yeah, we'll definitely ask her.
Yeah, you should.
Absolutely.
I've got one more question too, but my mind is blanking on what it is. I'm gonna look. I have it in my notes on my phone, so
okay, cool.
I don't know if I close out of this. Will it?
I should be able to re-invite you. It's fun when people have notes for their Ask Tamily interviews. So we'll give Cindy a second. Okay.
Sorry.
Cool.
So it's from Tamily.
Okay.
She asked, I guess I'll ask myself that question. She asked if, what are my goals 5 years from now, and how does Tam align with that?
Cool.
So my goal for 5 years from now is to not be in school and really to enjoy life to its fullest, and doing the Tracy Anderson method is probably one of the biggest things to help me do that. I want to have gone to at least 2 vitality weeks by then.
All right.
That's probably my biggest goal. And you know what I've always wanted to do, which I don't know, it's some of the dances are hard to learn from the older DVDs because of just the way that they're done. But I would love to learn all the dances and like be able to do them by memory. There's so many though.
Right. But you can do it.
Once I have time, I'm looking forward to that.
Exactly. That's all we need is time.
Yes.
Well, thank you for adding in that question.
No problem.
I don't think we have any other questions in the chat. Is there anything that you would like to say to the Tamily before we finish while you have this audience?
I think I pretty much said everything that I wanted to say. I just want to thank everybody for being so supportive all the time. I feel like sometimes if I'm not doing it consistently, sometimes I feel a little disconnected. And I always worry, if I'm not doing it every day, are people going to look down on me, or are people not going to accept me as part of the community? And one of the things I love is that I've never once felt that way. I've never felt ostracized because I don't do it 7 days a week, 2 hours a day, like some people do. So thank you, everybody, for that. And thank you for the honor of getting to do this interview. Like, I was honestly shocked when I was asked to do that, just for that exact reason. I was like, why me? Like, what? I don't feel like I contribute enough to the community.
Oh, you do. Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you being a light in this community. And, we're all here for each other. I mean, we all go through, different times in our journey. I mean, I took more rest days this month than I did in 2017.
Wow.
So,
yeah. That's true.
We're all in this together, and, you are always like a positive, shining star in the Tamily.
Thank you.
Hate you.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
And we will celebrate with you when you finish school.
Yes, I'm going to have a dance party.
yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, Cindy, for interviewing with us today. I will share the interview on my feed. It'll be up on Instagram for the next 24 hours, and then in a few days, we'll get it up on YouTube forever.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good day.
Tamily.
Bye, Tamily.